You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful Thursday here with the incredible Mr. Rogers. Not that one, Mr. Craig Rogers. Welcome, sir.
I'm not nearly as friendly.
I can attest to that, having met you. Yes, that is true. Quite hospitable, though. I'm so stoked that you're here again tonight. Craig, of course, from Deaf Crocodile, one of my favorites, one of the labels I work closely with. I am so honored to have you back.
I love watching the show every week, so the fact that you let me be on it occasionally is
let you be on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would do this every week, so it's just so much fun.
This week is going to be an interesting one. We planned the topic a while ago, but what's funny, I thought there was going to be a lot more announcements. This week we only got like just under 30 to cover.
Yeah, I jumped into Instagram today to try and at least get some idea of what was going to be coming tonight, and I'm like, I thought I did something wrong. I'm like, I scrolled just a little bit, and I'm like, I thought that stuff was last week.
Right.
Yeah, not much. So we'll just have to yak longer because there's no way we're letting you out of here early.
That's true. Yeah, we definitely got a lot to cover. I know that we will absolutely be making up for it. One thing, before we get into all of the other stuff, do you want to maybe highlight some tomorrow announcements for Deaf Crocodile?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
There you go. Mutant Aliens. It's our next Bill Plimpton release, and that is the really cool artwork he did specifically just for us for this release. Yeah, I mean, if you know Bill Plimpton stuff, there's not much more I can say. It's just wild, and this one is kind of like his take on a 50s sci-fi film,
right?
In a way you only Bill would think up. I'm pretty sure he had said that the inspiration for this was the that first Dog in Space, Laika. It just hit him one day that when he realized that they sent the dog up, but the dog didn't come back.
Right.
and he thought, well, that's just kind of horrible. What if we sent a human up and then just were like, oh well. And that kind of inspired Mutant Aliens.
This is going to be a pretty incredible release. Glad people seem to be into this. This is a big one, and this will now be the third so far Plimpton release. And we also got the standard art on this. Incredible looking. Should we cover some of the special features? Because of course,
sure. I do want to point out that we are intentionally, because we are again collectors ourselves, and we have OCD. The artwork for all three on this wrap has a very similar layout and style intentionally because they're meant to look like they go together.
Right. And someday they may. There could be a Plimpton box set in the future.
No.
So we got another conversation with Bill Plimpton on here. We got an audio commentary, more shorts, just as stacked as the last couple that we've put out with Plimpton. This is incredible. This might be the one I'm looking forward to the most because I've not seen this one in a very long time. I feel like
it is wacky.
It's going to be a fun one. And speaking of wacky, the other title for this month, this is the first time I saw the art, by the way, is when you sent this today.
Yeah,
this
we did.
Looks incredible.
Yeah, it's Tony Stella. Like, you can't go wrong. Yeah, he's done quite a few covers for us. Since he started doing those for us, he's kind of blown up a bit. Like,
exploded a tad.
Yeah, he's a bit harder to get now. So we had asked him about this because this title has been in our in the works for a long time, and he had staked his claim on it early on because he's a huge Japanese cinema fan.
Right.
So, like a year, 2 years goes by, and I reach out to him again. I'm like, "Hey, you remember that Japanese film you wanted to do? Like, you think you can still do it?" And he's like, I don't really have much time, but for that film, yes. So this might be the last thing we get from Tony Stella because he's just too busy now. But yeah, again, he knocked it out of the park. Like it's fantastic. I mean, I love everything about this release. The trailer turned out incredible. Both once again, the wrap artwork, two versions we like so much. We're like, well, screw it, they'll do both of them. So the wrap is reversible. You can set it up to look whichever one you prefer. So yeah, it is a damn cool movie. Just a horribly bad title. You can't Google it.
No,
so it's like I'm always talking about how we make life hard on ourselves by picking movies nobody's heard of, and now we pick a movie very few people have heard of, and they can't even Google it to find out what it is. So yeah, I had mentioned on our podcast the other day, like I hadn't seen Branded to Kill.
Right.
I bought it from Criterion a long time ago, and it sat on the shelf, and I'm like, all right, we're releasing this. People, it's the same writer. I should watch it. So I popped it in, and like halfway through, I was like, so why is Branded to Kill like put up on a pedestal and got a Criterion release, and this is, it's on a pink film, multi-film set, that's not been restored, and yeah, there's a few reasons. The title is certainly one of them. The fact that there just weren't elements, what we used was a very, very, very beat up release print. The reason I said this has been in the hopper for almost 2 years with us is because it's taken that long to get it looking pretty good. Looking and sounding. Audio Mechanics, those guys out in Burbank did an amazing job with the sound as well. So it's finally ready. And yeah, if you like Branded to Kill, you're going to love this film.
So in a way that Gary can understand here, what is the synopsis of Inflatable Sex Doll: The Wastelands? Because we have not said that.
It's hard to explain.
So it's an art house film, very well done. First of all,
yeah, if you can explain it, I'm going to let you go first, and if that sounds incorrect, I will jump in. But it's complicated. It's like a noir where not everything is what it seems,
right?
And then add to that, they're playing with time and space, and so things are hopping around. So it's a bit confusing, but basically, as a private eye / hitman is hired to find somebody and kill somebody, and who is who gets confusing.
Hired to find and kill somebody every day at 3:00, and this story goes in lots of metaphorical different places, and the whole every day at 3:00 thing, you can see why that second cover on the right is so meaningful for this title. Now, it is a story that you got to pay attention to. You'll find out the actual meaning behind the title near the end of it, and it goes there. It is a very early, not super pink film. I would say pink-ish, but definitely associated with pink films, and one that you certainly don't watch to get a rise out of, because there's nothing erotic about this film in any way.
Not. There's some nudity, not a ton, but it is not meant to be titillating. It is harsh. Yeah, it's. I hate that it gets lumped in as a pink film, which it's just not really.
Right. But it's a really wonderful film, really wonderful release. You got a lot of stuff coming in it. You got an audio commentary from Arna Venema and Mike Leader attached to this one. You got a visual essay from me and Dr. Will Dodson. What else we got on this one?
Terrific essays. I am never ready for this. I apologize.
I just
you
realized
probably have the information in front of you, and I don't.
well, I just realized that the list was not in the pictures that I was looking.
Oh, it's well, there's 3 essays. Christy Waltshaw and Alexander
Christy.
Nichols.
Or-
I get her name wrong.
Nicholas.
And they're all 3 are terrific. So there's an extra essay in this one. It's a really good packed release. And there's also, it wasn't, it's interesting. It came in late, so it didn't get listed on the J card on the packaging. But there's an interview with the producer, who was one of the few female producers and back in the day in Japan, particularly working in pink films. So there's a really interesting interview with her that's been translated that's also in the booklet.
I want to share a little peek behind the curtain because you mentioned that you can't Google this title. My wife is the one that has been working on the transcriptions for the commentary for this. And after the first, half hour of the commentary, she said, "What have you done to my search history to me?" Because not only is she just transcribing what is being said, but making sure that the words are accurate. And so going to look up the titles that they bring up to make sure the year is right, making sure that we're doing it properly. And it was quite a we'll say colorful commentary that you're going to enjoy in this. But the big thing is Mike Leader and Arna Venema speak very quickly, and there's so much information in this one, legitimately like film school in a box in this commentary. It's an incredible release. You can hear more about it in the podcast episode going live tomorrow as soon as this title goes up for sale. I think that'll be noon Eastern.
Yeah, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Both of these films will be available. If you've signed up for our newsletter, you'll get an email, which Gmail has graciously decided to pull out of your inbox and put under their categories for either update or promotion.
Right.
So if you're looking for it in your inbox, they may have moved it on you. Because I was looking for the one I sent to myself and couldn't find it. I'm like, I know I sent it to myself. And yeah, so they just move your email to be helpful. It's not helpful.
Yeah, it's not. Especially with how many questions you get about the subscription, which is a good transition to which one of these titles is coming in all the subscriptions. What can you share for that?
Inflatable Sex Doll will be going out to everybody. The people who have 12-month subscriptions will get an email to add on the Bill Plimpton, much like last month. If you have an international subscription or if you have a 6-month subscription, both titles are already included.
We got a question for you earlier from Russ. It's Russ. Craig, when is Arcana getting a reprint?
It is in the works. We've just got too many things going on at once.
It is a wonderful movie. I hope more people get a chance to see it.
There's definitely a reissue coming, and we're transitioning everything to the nicer cases, so everything will look nice on your shelf. But yeah, it's in the list. It's coming. We just got one batch of reprints done, and the Pachushko fantasy films, those are coming, all reprints of those coming very soon. So it's just a lot to get through, but it will be reprinted.
And now for something a little bit different, wants to know if you're going to be releasing the new Bill Plimpton film Slide. I don't think that's in the works yet, but one thing I can say is if you buy a whole bunch of Bill Plimpton stuff from Deaf Crocodile, that would send a message to Mr. Plimpton that you want more.
Indeed. He does pay attention.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but there's nothing signed, but we're planning more Bill Plimpton releases. So I have a spreadsheet with all of his features and elements that are available, and then that includes a mile-long list of shorts.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got a lot, and we would love to release all of it if possible. But there's even I don't know if it's even possible, but like he did a ton of commercial work.
Right.
It'd be so fun to be able to release just a compilation of all the ads he did for TV. That would be fun. Music videos, he did a ton of music videos, but rights issues on that kind of stuff, music videos and advertisements. He's like, yeah, it was all done work for hire. He's like, I don't have the rights to that stuff. So
Right.
it might make it difficult, but he's got plenty of other stuff that we should be able to get our hands on. So more Bill Plimpton, I'm quite certain will be coming from us. Nothing signed, so don't hold me to it, but
but hopefully
that is the plan.
There's lots more hints and just flat out things revealed in the Deaf Crocodile podcast. So make sure you download that tomorrow, everywhere you get your podcast. It was a fun episode. We had a long conversation about other physical media that wasn't Deaf Crocodile. It was a nice change of pace on that front. Yeah, check it out.
And I recorded it inside my car.
Yeah, and you can't really tell. I edited out all of the failures that we had.
Only in the beginning. Yeah, I think I kept trying to connect to the Wi-Fi in the Airbnb. I was sitting outside in the car.
Glad you're home. Glad you're safe. Recent watches. Anything that you've watched in the last 4 years that you want to highlight? I've just been having some Looney Tunes playing in the background while I work. Does that count? It does. It very much does. And I'm sure we're going to talk about one of those in your pickups.
And I was very thrilled. I was happy to see. I was watching one of the early Tasmanian Devil cartoons, and I was happy to see the Newton rings that happens when two pieces of cell animation touch each other, popping up on Warner Brothers Looney Tunes, and I'm like, good. It's not just the stuff I release. Yeah, it just makes a weird, looks like wet rainbow. You know, if you don't know what it is, you'd think it was some sort of damage or artifact that was left in, but it's just what happens when two pieces of plastic touch each other.
Makes sense. Can't all be perfect, unfortunately.
Nope.
The one thing I wanted to highlight this week, I finally got around to the Scala documentary that Severin had put out.
I love that cover. I don't know why. It's just a really cool cover.
It was also released in the UK by, I believe, the BFI. The documentary itself is marvelous. If you are somebody that has ever been attached to like a counterculture movement, or a fan of a single theater, or somebody that longs for something like that, this documentary goes there. There's so much information about this wonderful period of just an underground movement, literally. I mean, you get pictures of Iggy Pop and the Stooges and Boy George. Kim Newman is featured heavily in this. There's lots of directors that you'll recognize the names of their work that were introduced to some of their most influential films, literally at the Scala. It's an incredible, incredible documentary. I don't know when I will ever be able to finish the 11 hours of extras that came in this package. I hope to be able to, but the documentary itself, magnificent and worth a watch for any film fan. It is completely, completely worth it.
Sounds cool.
Pickups. What do you have to share with the group?
Well, we'll start off right at the top with Looney Tunes, since we just mentioned it. I, like many other people, bought the Collector's Choice. I had bought Volume 1, and I had bought Volume 2. I hadn't bought 3 yet, and then 4 was announced, and I had them in my cart, and then they announced the 1 through 4 set, and I'm like, you bastards. So I gave my 1 and 2 to my friend and got the 1 through 4 set for myself, because it would have cost about the same to buy 3 and 4 as it did to get all 4 And then I had mentioned in the Discord that the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection, which was the one I think that came up before Collector's Choice, Volume 1 had a really cool media book release that was really neat. And then Volume 2 and 3 just had standard Blu-ray cases with a slip case. And I got Volume 1 media book. I got Volume 3. And I couldn't get my hands on Volume 2 because for whatever reason, it was out of print.
Quickly,
and
too.
Went for stupid money on eBay. But friend of the show, Gage, reached out to me in the Discord, and he's like, hey, I have that. Let's work out a trade. So, Volume 2 Platinum is finally in my hands. I would not have gotten it without that trade.
On that note, I will say the Discord does magical things to bring people together. And if you want to be a part of the Discord or earn some Deaf Crocodile swag, you can still sign up for one of the Patreon promotions right now to get in the Discord. You sign up at the $12 plan or higher and pay for a year in advance, and you get a couple free gifts. I will send you some stuff. I got a full spreadsheet to check out, and you are the main reason, Craig, that a lot of that exists. So thank you again, publicly now, I can say. Since the first time I was in your garage on the verge of tears saying, why are you being so generous?
Because you've helped us incredibly, and you're not an asshole.
I do my best.
Those are two big checks next to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you need some help, then you get help. That's just how it works. So, only a few more pickups. And all of these were the 4 discs I got from the Criterion sale. And one of their previous sales, I had picked up Devil in a Blue Dress because it was a film I'd always wanted to see. And then when they put out a new release of it, I'm like, all right, now's the time. And loved it. So Carl Franklin's One False Move seemed like an obvious pick. Never seen it, blind buy, but if it's half as cool and stylish as Devil in a Blue Dress, I'm going to love it. And I've heard nothing but great things about it.
It is quite, yes. Especially, man, those first 25 minutes of that film are rough.
This one technically isn't a blind buy, but I think I probably saw it on VHS when I was a teen. Don't remember. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember anything. So, Michael Mann's Thief, Glare. There you go. So that seemed like a no-brainer. I've liked most everything I've seen by Michael Mann. Another blind buy. This one is almost entirely inspired by the absolutely incredible cover artwork. And then I read a little bit about it, and I heard it was like, oh, that sounds actually pretty cool. But it was definitely the cover artwork that sold me on. Oh yeah, All That Money Can Buy. Just super cool artwork. So I'm hoping to enjoy that. And how did you get in here, Kitty? Sorry, the cat.
They were asking for cats earlier, so that's good.
Well, here you go. There's a cat. And then the last one, another blind buy. And this one, I think every single member of your Discord picked up a copy of the new Godzilla.
Yes.
Because, everybody's posted what they bought. They were all very different, except everyone had at least that one in it.
I'm sure he's frantically typing a comment, but even Jeremy was saying, hey, what do you think of my Criterion cart before I pull the trigger? And I was like, it's great, except you didn't get Godzilla. I was like, you have to get, like, this is what everybody is purchasing.
Everybody else did.
It's a requirement.
So yeah, those are my pickups. I hope to watch them, in less than a year. That's being hopeful.
Wishful, yeah. Cloudmage says, Craig, with all the bangers tonight, Bill Gabiri just released an interview with Michael Mann about Thief for its anniversary. If anyone is also a Thief freak the way I am,
will have to check that out.
Bill goes fantastic. Let's see. Good question. I'm sure this was going to come up tonight, but Lil says, hey, Craig, with Eureka releasing Heart of Stone in the UK, which is a DIFA title, can we expect Deaf Crocodile to release it in the US?
I can't name names, but we are talking to the DIFA folks about a lot more titles. So, again, nothing signed. Don't hold me to it. But the plan is for many, many more DIFA titles.
Yeah. Good to hear. Good to hear. My stuff this week, a couple of these are sort of old, but I've been saving them to talk about on any episode where I didn't have much. And this week I didn't have much come in. I got in recently the Refuse Trauma 3-pack that they just put out in the UK with their release of Cannibal the Musical, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, and Toxic Avenger. Lots of very unique special features on these that are not on the US releases. Reminder, Kabuki Man is coming from Vinegar Syndrome at some point this year, so glad I have that already. And then switching over to Arrow, 2 in one of my favorite Fulcis, maybe my favorite Fulci, Don't Torture a Duckling in 4K. This is
I've heard you mention that one a few times.
Wild movie. Crazy cover for this. It's a little busy, but it kind of fits. It's a really unique movie, especially when you compare to his most famous stuff, because it's nothing like any of those, really. And then one that I think I discovered this on Netflix like 12 years ago, something like that. Astonished that Arrow was able to get it, but The Good, the Bad, and the Weird on 4K. Had to get this. This is an incredibly silly movie. Love this thing.
That is thick.
It is thick. It is a very thick release. It's one of their hard box packaging, but with a slipcover over the hard box.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of cardboard.
I know nothing about that film, but it looks up my alley.
I think you would like it, especially with knowing what you love about Eastwood and Asian films. It's like the perfect combination of all of it. Colton says Duckling is definitely my favorite Fulci. Love all the roll photography in that one is pretty beautiful. Anything else, Deaf Crocodile, or anything that you want to shout out before we get started on the announcements?
Tragedy of Man is ProRes is rendering as we speak.
Nice.
Finally got through that monster.
It's a good day.
It's a super cool movie.
Awesome.
It's weird that there hasn't been a release of that. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right. A lot of cool stuff coming from Deaf Crocodile. If you've not been keeping up with the podcast, Dennis kind of can't keep his mouth shut. So there's a lot of secrets that have been revealed on the podcast every month.
Yeah. At first I was just like, hey, what are you doing? That hasn't been announced yet. And then I'm just like, it's our company. We can say whatever the hell we want.
And most of the time that's great because you just get people excited for months. Unfortunately, then you get, like the Mama and Rock and Roll Wolf that just happened. That wasn't we didn't announce that too soon. That was we had a signed deal and paid for it, and they had already scanned it. That was just a very weird set of circumstances that got that one pulled. Yeah, I'm still hurt by that one. That one sucks.
Yeah, we paid for subtitles. They paid for a new scan. Like it was underway.
Such a silly deal. I do not understand some people.
What are you gonna do?
Tonight, after our announcements, our discussion tonight is going to be 5 films that defied our expectations. Now, that could be positive, that could be negative, that could be we thought it was going to be one movie and it turned out to be something completely different. It's going to be a very interesting and weaving conversation, I can tell. So hang out after the announcements, of course, and we'll go through all of that.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it. And there's at least one on my list that a lot of people are going to just be like, what the hell is wrong with you? But Hey, I like it.
Fun fact, the person in Mama Rock and Roll Wolf was also in Eldar Ryazanov's masterful Carnival Night and is later Station for 2. Nice. All right, getting into announcements, starting off with Warner Archive having one of their sales. I know a lot of people ask about the 4 for 44 sale coming back. It's not. Just get used to that. It's not coming back. Moviezing is their new home-ish. Moviezing basically is like a storefront for Alliance, and they are a distributor for all kinds of places. This Warner Archive sale is 4 titles for $49, and then it gets a little weird if you start buying a whole bunch more. So essentially, you're getting each title for $12.25 because shipping for 4 titles is $7.46, and every time you add a title, another 99 cents shipping goes into it. So if you get, I don't know, 50 titles, you're adding $46 more for shipping, even though it's not going to cost anywhere near that, which is crazy. Now, the interesting thing about here, I know a lot of us don't love promoting Amazon. I try not to. Obviously, there's some people that can only shop on Amazon, so I still list those links elsewhere. But Amazon frequently is lowering the prices on Warner Archive titles to prices that make no sense. Some of these titles are like $7 sometimes, and they're some of the best Warner Archive releases. Now, the other side is some of these titles never go on sale. So it's kind of tricky, but if you can find titles in this sale that never go on sale elsewhere, it can be a really good deal because you're getting stuff that is usually around $22 for literally like $12.50, $13.50. That's a great deal for pretty incredible movies. They do great restoration work. The discs are encoded very well. They don't always have a ton of extras. Sometimes they've got some, but this can be a really great sale if you like their catalog. That's for sure.
I just bought 4 titles on the Criterion sale and then saw this one pop up and I'm like, shit, and added a bunch to my cart, and then I was an adult and closed the cart.
That's no fun. This sale going on until March 31st, so you still got a handful of days. Check it out if you happen to get paid or something like that. It can be worth it. The other big
there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, great titles. The other big thing is if you don't live in Illinois, no sales tax anywhere else. So you are basically seeing the price it's going to be after the shipping. It's good stuff. Next up, Imprint in Australia releasing 2 more of their Imprint TV titles. First one is Gidget, the complete series. This is from 1965, coming on May 28th on Blu-ray. I have heard this name many, many times. I think this is, when they announced this, I think it was the first time I ever saw any imagery from the show. Did you watch this one?
Nope. Before my time, and it wasn't one of the shows from that period that was in endless reruns. So there's lots of other shows kind of around that period that I've seen lots of because they were always in syndication. But yeah, I've heard of this, like you said, but I've never seen it.
Same exact for me. This is going to be a 5-disc release with 32 episodes. It's got a 76-page hardcover book in a limited edition box. Some bonuses on here. Not a lot. They got the original extended pilot episode. The 1969 TV movie that they did called Gidget Grows Up in SD. Featurette, but that's really about it. Not a ton on the bone for this one. But the other one is one that they're treating very well, and that is Bewitch, the season 3 and 4 collection. They already did season 1 and 2. They are doing the whole series, just taking a little bit of time in between because they're putting a lot of stuff into these. So this is an 8-disc set. This has a 146-page hardcover book. And this has quite a few more bonus features than Gidget. So we've got new audio commentaries. We've got special episodes. We've got essays, all kinds of stuff in this one. You a Bewitched fan?
Yeah, it was fun. This was a show that was in endless syndication. So always. Yeah, I've seen, for a long time, you could turn on the TV and you got to the right channel, an episode of that would be on somewhere. It's like the Law and Order of its day.
This and I Dream of Jeannie on repeat.
Yeah. A lot of fun. It's a really fun show. I can imagine fans of the show are very happy to have this coming out.
I imagine so. Next up, just like I guessed last week, I said that the Beyond 4K would be coming back very soon because it was out of print for 4 days. Last Friday, they put it up for sale again and said, "Hey, it sold so well. Here's some more without the eyeball." Yeah, this is still available. Exactly like I said, this is going to be available for years. They're going to have these titles for. From other retailers. You're going to be able to get the 4K release of the Beyond from Grindhouse Releasing pretty much for what feels like forever. They own this title. You will be able to get it. Don't worry. They've done this with their FOMO game at Grindhouse every single time they release a film. It's a great movie. If you want it, it's still $66 for this. They will likely do a pared down version that has not 6 discs, probably 3, maybe 4. That's probably $35 or $40, something like that, always. And then maybe goes on sale for like $30 on their website once a year. But yeah, this will be available forever. I just think it's hilarious that last Thursday night I said, "Don't worry, this will be back soon." And it wasn't even 12 hours after I said that it was available for sale again.
When our stuff goes out of print, it's out of print.
I've done that to you a couple times, though, where you've asked a question and I've been spot on the answer. And I always love doing that. Have you seen The Beyond or any Fulci movies ever?
I don't think so. I know it's very, very popular these days, but I've never gotten into like the Italian kind of horror stuff. Like I've seen a couple that were like okay, but none of them have ever like blown my mind where I'm like, oh shit, I need to see more. I
get it.
Yeah, they're all right.
I get it. I totally get it. Next up, Target. Yet another one that currently don't love promoting, considering most people are boycotting them because of their choices. But if you are into Target at the moment or just want to take advantage of a sale because this is easier for you to purchase, they're having one of their buy two, get one free sales. And they've got all kinds of titles, including a handful of Deaf Crocodile titles. You can
currently have 8 of our titles. And the only reason I knew this is because somebody emailed us saying they had bought a title from Target and there was a scratch on the disc and wanted to know if we would replace it. So I politely said, well, if you didn't buy it from us, then no, we can't send you a new disc. Right. And he had said that Target was out of stock. And I was like, well, they should get more in. So just reach out to them and say, hey, look, I got a defective disc. When you get more in, I want a replacement. And he's like, cool, will do. But that's how I even knew our stuff was in Target. I had no idea. And I certainly didn't know it was in the buy two, get one free deal. So, but yeah, so if you want to get some of our discs pretty darn cheap, there you go. Because they don't go on sale usually.
And they're properly priced right now. They didn't inflate the prices. They're
not even the price listed isn't. So is this deal based on the list price or the MSRP?
It is what you see on the website.
Okay, then yeah. So they're not even listed at MSRP. So yeah, you're getting the discounted price and then buy two get one free. So that's a pretty damn good deal.
And for those that don't know, the Target sale, it's going to end this Saturday night. It is, I believe, it'll be going until midnight Pacific. It might be midnight Eastern, but either way, you should be able to get it, or up until then. If you've never shopped from one of these Target sales before, I'll point out the prices for the Deaf Crocodile things, actually, so you can understand it. So most of the Deaf Crocodile blues are listed at $22.49 right now. And Target actually treats it right for the consumer. So if you get 3 titles around the same price, and we'll say they're each $30, and 3 titles that are each around $22.49, like the Deaf Crocodile titles, they'll go every third most expensive title is what is free. So one of the $30 titles would be free, and one of the $22.49 titles would be free, instead of just, we're going to take the two cheapest ones off, which is what most companies do. So it's a really good way to do these. If you get 3 of the Deaf Crocodile standard editions, you're literally paying $45 for 3, so they're $15 a piece. That's an incredible deal for these standard titles.
Yeah, that's literally half of MSRP.
And you get all the same on-disc content, never have to worry about any of that. It's a pretty great opportunity. The big thing is they've got lots of boutique stuff online. A lot of pre-orders have been working all week. There are Arrow pre-orders that are coming soon that you can still get right now in the buy two, get one. They've got steelbooks. They've got a lot of Shout Factory stuff, including some box sets. They've got some Vinegar Syndrome stuff, not as much as they used to. They've got a few Criterions, not as much as they used to. Target has pulled back quite a lot, but they've got some good things. And honestly, these are the sales where they're better prices than we would see at Black Friday sales right now. A couple of years ago, I would not say that. I'd say wait till Black Friday, you can get them for $8 to $10. But
yeah,
here,
the last couple of years, I mean, I used to go crazy at Black Friday because you used to be able to get Blu-rays for as low as $5 a pop. I mean, I was buying stacks of stuff, and now it's like they don't go that low.
Not anymore.
It makes sense because there's damn sales like literally every week. There's a sale. Like, it's kind of crazy.
But yeah, you can get newer 4Ks right now for like $15, which is a lot better than the $32 that most places are charging for them. The only thing I'll say, their shipping is not the best, so be prepared for that. It's basically flimsy cardboard. They also fulfilled by Alliance. So
yeah, that my Criterion package. I mentioned it on your Discord channel, but I have never received anything in flimsier packaging in my entire life. It like the bottom was just the kind of like almost like a box that like you fold together and then it stays closed, but if you just pressed on it, it would just open.
Right.
Yeah, like no tape, like nothing. Like, I can't believe I was very lucky that my 4 discs arrived not damaged, because the box was slightly thinner than paper. It was crazy.
All right, that's the Target sale. Ends this Saturday. Air 4444 has been announcing a couple titles. Their next one is P-Mock from 2013. This says the legendary love story of P-Mock and his ghost wife, Knock. Mock's friend just wants to protect him, but his wife, Knock, won't let a small thing like her own death get in the way of true love in this horror comedy. This is from 2013. They're doing a Blu-ray of this one soon. And I know nothing about this title. Had never heard of it before it got announced.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Not familiar.
All right. Next up, this one is Vertigo for a Killer from 1970, coming soon on Blu-ray from Kino. This gets a Studio Canal 4K restoration, but it's only coming on Blue at the moment. This is a French title that, again, I have not seen. I had heard that this one is good. This has been on my list for a little bit.
It's a cool poster.
Yeah, it is. And then the film Dead Again.
Another cool poster.
Yeah, this has a great design. 1991's Dead Again, coming soon on 4K from Kino. This is going to have a brand new HDR master. This is the Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson film. You also got Andy Garcia, Robin Williams, and the one and only Newman, Wayne Knight, in this one.
When did this come out originally?
91.
91. Okay, I was 19. I remember seeing it in the theater. I just and I remember liking it, but I honestly, I'm old. My brain's mush. I don't remember seeing anything about it, but it was good. I remember it being good.
Yep, I saw this.
That's always been a classy poster.
It is, yeah. This is one that would work like hanging up on your wall. Definitely a good one. All right, that is Kino. And then this one is interesting. Diabolic DVD posted up that they got stock of Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, the Russ Meyer title, on Blu-ray. Now, this is the exact same disc and packaging and everything that the Russ Meyer estate had released on their own a handful of years ago. Now, they did essentially one quick printing of that a few years ago, and that was it. It was gone. And pretty much day one, it started selling for $100 on the secondhand market, and it's been really hard to get. Diabolic DVD, with little to no fanfare, announced that they got these and they are available. Jesse commented on social media, by the way, that he said he would not sell these if Severin was just about to release it on 4K. At the moment, does not have this coming. And this was a way to get it, unfortunately, which obviously this has been wanted for quite some time. This one off his site pretty much immediately, just a few minutes after it was available. They had many copies because it was going off the shelf quite quickly, unfortunately. But who knows if they're gonna get another run from the estate? Who knows if this was it? Who knows what's going to happen? He has not deleted it from his site, so I have a feeling he might get some more. But he's not even taking orders for it at the moment. This is a big deal, though. This is a title that they may just want to hold on to and every few years release some copies of because it makes them a ton of money. Now, at the same time, you could probably make a lot more money licensing it to Severin or having it available 24/7. So who knows? This is a title that a lot of people want because this is widely known as the most famous Russ Meyer title, probably one of his best 2 or 3 films. And people want this movie. Have you seen this one, Craig?
I've never seen it, but it's the only title that, if you ask me to name a Russ Meyer film, it's the only title I know.
Reggie says Pussycat. That should be a Deaf Crocodile title.
True.
So yeah, this will be an interesting one to follow, see what happens in the future. But until now, it is gone from the site again. Maybe it'll slightly lower the secondhand prices for a little bit. Probably not.
It's like the handful of Megapolis steelbooks that they pop up and they're gone. Like, they're not there for 5 minutes. I'm like,
no, they're not even there for 1 minute.
Like, why can't you? Like, I don't understand. I mean, I'm not doing the ordering, and I know these guys know what they're doing. So there's obviously a reason they can't just be like, yeah, I want 200 copies of it.
Right.
Like they're just trickling in, and I'm like, one day I'll get one.
Yeah. What's going on, Steve? Brian says Faster Pussycat is not his best movie, but definitely his most famous. It's up there. Definitely Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is up there, too. Then, speaking of Severin, they announced their next round of titles. This first one, and all of these, actually, I should say, are going to be released in mid-May if you buy them from the Severin site. If you want to wait for the wide release date, that is not going to be till June 24th. But the first title is coming on 4K and Blu-ray, and it is Doctor Who and the Daleks from 1965. This is the Peter Cushing film. This was already released on 4K from Studio Canal over in the UK, but now you can get it here in the US, and they've got a bunch of stuff coming on the discs. Many commentaries, literally 3 different commentaries on this film. You've got audio interviews, you've got documentaries, lots and lots for this title. And if you're a Doctor Who fan, and that's not enough, the Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD is also coming on 4K and Blu-ray. This is from 1966, the other Peter Cushing Doctor Who film. And essentially the same thing. Multiple audio commentaries, lots and lots of extras on this. Tons of stuff coming to keep Doctor Who fans happy. Both 4K and Blu-ray. And then, if you want to get them both together, they've got this box set that they're doing. This is Total Extermination, the Peter Cushing Doctor Who collection. You can buy the bundle with both titles on 4K, with both of them on Blu-ray, or if you already have the Studio Canal titles, or you just want to get it and save up for the titles for later, you can also just buy the cardboard box itself that the titles go in. It's a good idea. I'm glad they're doing it. Gives everybody the freedom of choice. That is a good thing.
What are you? So you you could put the BFI discs in the box, I guess, is the idea.
Hopefully they fit, but also the big thing is if you don't want to buy the titles, and this thing is, I think it was like $5. So if you want to get the box and then save up for the titles later, that way you know that you're going to have the box in case it goes out of print.
Options are good.
It's a good way to get it for free.
And I had no idea that Peter Cushing starred in 2 Doctor Who movies.
Doctor Who is such an old legacy.
Yeah, it's I know it's got a huge fan base. Peter Cushing has a huge fan base, so I've never, like I said, didn't know they existed. So obviously I haven't seen them. But do they get people like them?
As far as I can tell, yes. I don't remember how it works because they're not considered canon to the specific storyline. I think like Cushing is playing Doctor Who, but he's not technically a doctor. I don't know how it all works. I don't know the history of the lore with the Doctor Who thing.
I'm curious. I'm interested. I'm curious. I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan. I've seen a few things that were kind of fun, a few things that were pretty stupid. But Peter Cushing's usually pretty great. So
I would just be worried in 2025 of suddenly going, you know what? I like Doctor Who. I'm going to watch it all. And there's so much of it that you would just be buried.
I don't think I have to worry about that happening.
All right. Next from Severin, their film Jack the Ripper from 1959 is getting a 4K upgrade. This is a pretty interesting decision. This is a good movie. Glad they're doing it. It's coming as a 4K and Blu-ray double pack. The extras appear to be all the same, I believe, from what they've done previously. But now, in case you missed out on the slipcase, you can get that on the 4K. Looks like a solid release of the film. I'm sure it'll look beautiful. Good movie, too.
I'm assuming that's the slipcover.
That is the slipcover, yes.
I do like I love that they had the courage to just do a single striking image with no text. Like,
yeah,
kudos.
It's a good choice for this one. Then they're also doing Unknown World from 1951. This is a Cold War variation on Journey to the Center of the Earth. This has a single disc release. We got an audio commentary with film writer that Mr. Stephen R. Bissett.
Good guy. He did the commentary, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, his commentaries are really great.
He also did a visual essay for it.
Well, they doubled down. and knowing Stephen, there's probably not a word that is the same in the two. Like,
not at all.
Like, yeah, he will go the extra mile, and so you're not going to be like, oh, I watched one, I don't need to listen to the other. It's going to be different information, almost guaranteed.
Yeah,
he's that kind of guy.
On top of that, the visual essay is talking about special effects maestros of the 1950s. So I guarantee the audio commentary is all focused on the film, and then the visual essay is about a whole bunch of other special effects maestros that you would love. Cloud wants to know, is this the same Jack the Ripper movie that came in a CD-ROM sleeve? I got that from some release I bought from them, but I can't remember how or why. Maybe as a free surprise. They were selling that single CD-ROM, which, yes, it is the same Jack the Ripper. It was for sale for like $5 as an add-on during, I think it was a halfway to Black Friday sale in like 2021. Guaranteed this was nowhere near their radar that they were ever going to do it on 4K. I think they had just barely done their first 4K, so they were just basically giving that disc away. Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, same film, same exact film. And then, as usual for Severin, if you'd like, they've got a bundle. You can get a bundle with everything, and it's $110. And with that, you get 3 films on 4K, and then the 4th on Blu-ray. You get the slipcovers. You get everything that you might want. Next up, The Brutalist from last year is getting a release in the UK on 4K and Blu-ray from Spirit Entertainment and Universal. This is coming on April 28th, so pretty soon now. So we'll have a 4K SDR presentation of the film, which is the same as in the US. It's got a bunch of subtitles on it, but no listing of extras, unfortunately. But you can get the film on 4K in the UK.
This was on my list of I wanted to see last year and didn't get to see. Did you see this?
I can't get through it. I watched about the first hour, and I got to be honest, I don't love it yet. I've had to go to work on a lot of other things.
It gets a lot of hate, but I've never really heard anybody, which is usually the case when things get a lot of hate. Can you explain why you hate it?
Right.
No. It's stupid. That's not an answer.
For me, it was very slow paced for a 3.5 hour film. I can really appreciate why Adrian Brody got the Oscar, though. He's incredible. He literally is the character that he was trying to be. So,
well, the thing that intrigued me is I heard an NPR review. They were talking about it when it came out, and they said that it feels so real, you kind of forget this isn't a documentary.
Yeah,
like,
I can see that.
You think like these are real characters. These characters are real people that really lived. That not so much maybe a documentary, but a biopic. They're like, it feels like a biopic, but these people aren't real.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Somehow I need to find. I don't have time to watch one movie, and this one's long, so. Well, I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
Thankfully, they took down the 15-minute intermission. There's only 1 minute on the disc, so you can save some time.
Yeah, and I like long, slow movies, which we'll discuss after the after the releases.
Yes, Dustin, I'm trying to get through the whole thing. I promise. Ben says the first half is grounded in realism, and the second half sort of becomes a melodrama. I know a lot of people hated Act 2. That's interesting. I don't think I've heard it stated like that. Thanks, Ben. Gary, it's on for almost half as long as an episode of this show. Well, I'll say this. The Brutalist will probably beat us tonight. I don't think we're going to go 3.5 hours tonight.
No. Although we're coming at, I think, 57. It says 57:16.
Yeah.
I think we just crossed Adrian Brody's acceptance speech time, though.
That was pretty good. Colton says that Brody should have won a Razzie for that acceptance speech.
Yeah.
So the next one, RLJE Films is putting out a 4K of When Evil Lurks on June 3rd. This is only going to have a behind-the-scenes photo gallery and subtitles. Love this movie. I'm glad it's getting a 4K. Interesting choice to just randomly do it, like, I don't know, 7 months after the Blu-ray. But
what's the tiny text there that I can't read?
The tiny text there says, "There's no point in praying."
Uh-huh. I know this is being really nitpicky. That's a really good cover. That text is distracting. And when you read it to me, it adds nothing.
The hard part, I don't think that text is going to be on the cover. This is just the theatrical poster. Okay.
Well, yeah. It's a terrific poster. You could lose that text. It's just distracting from the image.
I agree. And this is the thing that I've laughed at everybody saying. When they put this film out, the title is not on the spine on the Blu-ray. And so people are asking, will the 4K at least have the title on it?
They didn't put the title on the spine?
Not at all. It is a blank red spine.
I wonder if that's an oops or a... I can't imagine that would be intentional. That's weird.
It is a weird choice. That being said, I fucking love this movie. If you've never given When Evil Lurks a chance, it is a modern folk horror tale in South America, and it's acted incredibly. It is a really fun story. It's got some great effects, some really incredible kills, and it goes there. It's so good.
Is it a spoiler for me to ask, is she about to whack herself in the head with that axe?
I don't think so, because it was in the trailer, but yes, and not just once. Okay. It is an incredible scene. Incredible. All right.
Yeah, that just even knowing that, I'm like, that's disturbing.
Yeah. Fun City Editions is putting out Breaking Glass. I don't know why that says 2023. This film is not from 2023. It is from 1980. This is going to be exclusive for the slipcover to the Fun City website and Diabolic DVD. They have announced that this is going to have a new video interview with the producer on this, new visual essay by Chris O'Neill, new audio commentary by Mark Edward Hook, and a booklet with new essay by Margaret Barton Fumo. And this is supposedly amazing. I've never been able to get this, but as we talked about a couple weeks ago, this will have the long-wanted UK cut that has not been able to be seen in the US forever. This is literally the worldwide Blu-ray premiere of this version of the film, and Fun City killing it. I will say there's a rumor.
Fun City does some great releases.
Yeah. There is a rumor BFI might be doing this soon in the UK. So if you are a UK or a Europe resident, you might want to hold out on trying to import this if you're dying to see this. But that being said, if you want it, get it.
I am going to just reveal how just completely immature I am. Based on the artwork and the title, I kind of thought it said Breaking Gas at first. Just kind of the position she's in and legs up and
the legs up. Yeah, I get
shattering the glass behind her. Yeah. I'm a child. I'll admit it.
I see it. It's definitely worth it. I will say another frustrating thing about Fun City, who I love, Jonathan, you're incredible. We'd love to work with you. Send me a message. This whole street date to be determined is really frustrating. If you're putting out a film, you should know about when you're expecting to have it available for people, even if it's just a window of, hey, this will ship by late June. Even if you get it in early June, you're making people happy. You could at least say that. If you're wanting people to pre-order, it doesn't do well for you for people that want to know what they're buying and when they're going to get it.
It does make a pre-order a little hard if it could come out in a month or 6 months.
Right. And
I mean, has there been a fairly consistent release pattern? Like, like he's not giving you the date, but if you look back, you're like, yeah, it's like every month, every 2 months, like.
Yeah. It seems like he's announcing stuff about 2 months before the release date, 2.5 months, something like that. But if that's consistent, you should be able to tell us this comes out by June 15th.
I get both sides, because we've got some dates that we like to be solid with dates, but
right.
We got some releases coming up that I'm a little behind. So
me too on your releases. I'm sorry.
There's just a lot going on.
Hey, we talked about this one, I believe it was last week. April 28th, over in the UK, you can also pre-order the Tombstone 4K Steelbook. This is up for pre-order now. You can pick this up over on Amazon UK. Should have everything the exact same as the US release of this, and I'm sure it will look much better than the widely known terrible Blu-ray.
There's something about this film. Part of me feels like it's cheesy, but then I watch it and I love it so much. I'm like, it's not cheesy, is it? I think it's Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell, but there's always a sliver of it feels like there's a little tongue in cheek, no matter how straight he's playing something. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But it's all about Val. This movie's all about Val Kilmer's performance anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Val Kilmer kind of overruns anything.
Oh, absolutely. He's just stunningly good in this movie. And that's a pretty good looking steelbook. So
yeah, it's nice art. Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer actually look like themselves.
They do. And Sam Elliott does too.
True.
I need to get this one. I don't buy a lot of steelbooks, but I love the movie and I love the art. That's kind of the reason I would buy a steelbook.
I get it. For this one, the odd part is the pre-order on Amazon right now is very high. That's not odd. Disney sucks lately. The pre-order is listed at $55 just for this.
Well, that would explain why I haven't ordered it yet.
That being said, it was up for pre-order on Target earlier today just for $41. So I'm thinking 41 is probably a lot closer to the actual release price of this.
41 is even...
It's high still. It's the Disney touch. They are screwing everything over.
Well, maybe I won't get it.
I get it. Hey, Mermaid Legend. This just got a release over in the UK from Third Window Films. This is the third and final of the 3 announcements from Air 4444. This says, after a woman is framed for the murder of her fisherman husband, she seeks out a bloody revenge on the corrupt businessman responsible. Now, the hard part, this is going to be, first of all, the exact same quality as the Third Window release as far as the film itself. But for those that don't know, inherent to the film itself, this movie is censored for like 11 minutes straight. Just straight on the camera negative. There is I believe it's a black bar hiding most of the nudity near the final act of this film. So just keep that in mind.
And I know I harp on artwork a lot. Please tell me that's not the actual artwork.
This is the theatrical poster. Air 4444 will have some wild artwork coming up soon, I'm sure.
Okay. So the original theatrical release had that poster and censored on the negative.
On the negative.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait to hear what you say about this, Mr. Craig. We are getting a James Bond, Sean Connery 6-film 4K Steelbook library collection. They are also getting a standard release of that, so you don't have to get steelbooks for these. But if you want one of those fancy big steel cases with the steelbook for every single film, you can pre-order that now. You can pre-order the standard. They're doing a Connery. I'm just going to guess right now they're going to do one for every Bond. It only makes sense to put them all out like that, to have them all match. This is a big deal. This is probably the most womanizing James Bond. So if that's your thing, get on it. Are you a Bond guy?
I'm a huge Bond guy. And it's unfortunate. I understand licensing, owners, rights, blah, blah, blah. But it just seems fucked up to put out a Sean Connery Bond set and you don't have all the Bonnery films, because the Bonnery films.
Bondery.
Because Never Say Never Again. Weirdly, I know it's a kind of a remake and it's not from the Broccoli family, but personally, I was introduced to Bond with Roger Moore films.
Right.
And my stepfather, when this film came out, I think it was 82.
Maybe. This is about 6 different films, so I don't have the years listed.
But I was young. And he was very excited that there was a new Sean Connery James Bond film coming out, and he took me to the theater to show me the real James Bond, because obviously he was older and grew up with Sean Connery, and I absolutely friggin' loved it. So that particular film has a special place in my heart, and it's not in the Sean Connery box set, which is like, just pay the friggin' rights and put it in the set.
Yeah.
But and then as far as the steelbooks go, like, they're pre-selling it, but you don't even know what you're buying, right? There's no artwork.
You don't know any art. There's not even a release date available yet.
No. Just no.
And the crazy thing is, because
just send us your money. We promise we'll send you something. Maybe.
I mean, look at what they did with the 7 What's in the Box edition. Warner Brothers canceled it. So who knows? This could get canceled too.
And you said a steel box collection is usually a steel box with steel boxes in it?
So this is a Steelbook library collection. So yes, it is a steel. It will fit on your shelf. It is a giant steel box with foam inserts between a Steelbook for every single film.
Pass. That's just too much. That's just too silly. Like that's buying packaging over the films, and that's the films I love. So you said their 4Ks are coming out. If they're new, nice, beautiful 4K new restorations on 4K discs, I will happily buy those.
Now, and that's the hard part. I don't want to like shit on this or anything. For those that love James Bond, I'm sure they're going to be great. I'm not saying this is the case. But we don't even know anything about the restorations. We don't know if these got new restorations. We don't know how good they're going to look. These could just be, it's Amazon that owns them now. Yeah. So it could just be.
They could have botched them, I guess. Because I knew people that were working on the Lowry restorations back in, God, when did they do those? A long time ago.
At least like 12 or 13 years
ago. It was a long time ago. And so, yeah, that it's been a long time. So, and I'm pretty sure they scanned all that stuff at 4K. So
I'm sure, yeah. These are too important not to.
But they did all those at HD. So, and they did it the Lowry way, which has since been quite poo-pooed on. With all their advanced grain management. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what if these are new 4K restorations from 4K scans that you don't manage the shit out of grain,
right?
And you don't use AI cleanup software and just set it and forget it. Which again, I'll say it here again, I would kill for some fantastic AI restoration software, but you don't just press a button and then say it's done.
Right.
Like you go back and you fix the things it screwed up. Which it's weird that's not been happening. Like somehow they've sold these companies on, it's a set it and forget it. It's like the Ronco film restoration. You don't have to do anything. It's like, no, if not, if you want it done right. But yeah, AI software could revolutionize film restoration if it's done properly.
Right.
So I'm very excited. I'm a huge James Bond fan, so I've bought all those previous Blu-rays, and I will buy them all again in 4K, assuming they're not garbage.
Well, at least you'll be able to get them in a regular case as well as the Steelbook if you want.
Yes.
Next, 101 Films in the UK on May 26th, as part of their Black Label series, is putting out a Blu-ray of Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak from 1995. One of my favorite Gordons. Love this movie. It is really great. Glad to see it getting some nice special attention. This gets a new interview with Richard Band. We got a new interview with Barbara Crampton on here. There's also an interview with Chris Alexander, who does the Delirium magazine and supposedly helping with the Delirium home video stuff coming up, plus some archival extras. Don't expect this to look any better than the Full Moon Blu-ray or anything like that, but this is probably the fanciest release of Castle Freak we will ever get. That being said, it's Charles Band running Full Moon, so who knows? They could theoretically put out a 4K at some point if they are feeling squirrely, but this is a pretty great release for a movie that gets overlooked a lot. So, hey, check it out if you want, because this movie's great. Have you seen this one? Are you much of a Full Moon person?
I'm not familiar at all.
That's what I thought. Awesome. Hey, Eureka announced some titles today. First is June 16th in the UK, June 17th in North America on Blu-ray, and that is Hong Kong 1941. That's the name of the title, and it is from 1984.
I have no idea what that is, but that cover art completely sells me.
It's a good-looking cover for sure. Absolutely looks good. Produced by Sammo Hung, and you've got a young Chow Yun Fat in this. We've got new commentary by Frank Jang, new visual essay by Tony Raines, some archival interviews. Looks like a really solid release for them.
Yeah, that looks really cool. Sounds really cool.
Yeah, I've heard this is good. Next up is a Shaw Brothers title, and that is The Eunuch and the Deadly Knives. These are from 1971, 1972, coming on June 16th in the UK, June 17th in North America. God, Shaw Brothers titles are everywhere.
It's kind of crazy.
It is so wild how many.
It's like every label has their own whole like ongoing series of Shaw Brothers releases.
Yep. And this is a part of Eureka Classics.
Oh, big announcement from Deaf Crocodile.
We've got new commentary on The Eunuch by Mike Leader and Arna Venema, who are on the Deaf Crocodile title we talked about earlier. New commentary on The Deadly Knives by Frank Jang, and looks to be a solid double feature. Again, Shaw Brothers stuff. Never seen these two. A lot of the Shaw Brothers titles getting released now are... We'll say not like the most well-known titles. So I'm eager to check some more of these out, because most of the Shaw Brothers stuff that's come out has been pretty good.
I know I keep commenting on cover artwork, but for a double feature, they did a really nice job on that.
Yeah, it's a nice
not
idea.
Not easy to pull off good artwork for more than one film on a disc.
That is very true, especially without going on two sides of the slipcover.
Yeah, that's a really nice job.
And finally from them, the one that we had a question about earlier, Heart of Stone from 1950. This is coming in the UK only on Blu-ray on June 23rd. This is directed by Paul Verhoeven, but not that Paul Verhoeven. Obviously, it's 1950. This is a DIFA film. And this is going to have, we've got Heart of Stone, some DIFA fairy tale films. We've got a 2K restoration on this from the OCN. We've got a new commentary by DIFA historian Sean Allen. New interview with Soviet cinema expert Claire Knight. New visual essay by Mary Going. Some shorts and a handful of shorts, actually. This is a pretty loaded disc. If you are into a title like this, glad this is getting a release. And I hope that we can see this as part of a Deaf Crocodile release maybe someday.
I'm curious to know how many people are going to buy that thinking it is the Paul Verhoeven they're thinking of.
Right.
Because, I mean, what are the chances there's two people named Paul Verhoeven and they're both film directors?
That is a good question, especially, and they're both from Europe. Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
This also, I got to say, really attracted to this art. This is really well done. It's nice. Colton says Deaf Crocodile would do wonderfully with the Shaw Brothers fantasy films from earlier in the studio's history. So people are asking for it, Craig.
I'm sure somebody has already licensed them.
You got to get a Shaw Brothers deal. There's like 875 more titles that have not been released. You can get some of them.
I think the Shaw Brothers are well covered with everybody else. We've got stuff lined up all the way into like mid 2026 already. Like we're good.
Okay, you heard it here first. Expect a release of early fantasy Shaw Brothers stuff from Deaf Crocodile in 2029. Speaking of sales, like we did earlier, the March Madness sale over at Kino Lorber has launched today. For the first 90 minutes, it was a terrible vaunt to the finish line to try to check out here. It has calmed down, and there are quite a lot of great titles up for sale this time. This is the new normal with free shipping at $60 rather than the $50 that it was a couple sales ago. This sale also it's not a short sale. This is going to be on sale until April 21st. So you've got a whole nother 3.5 weeks to shop over at the Kino site.
When did this sale start?
This afternoon.
So the March Madness sale started March 27th and runs all of April.
Yes, literally yes.
Makes sense.
Some really great stuff on sale. One thing I will say, Kino was asked if there were going to be more titles added to their While Supplies last sale, and they said yes, that will be next weekend. So if you wanted to wait until those got added and combine it all into one purchase, you may want to wait until next weekend to purchase. That being said, I know through these sales, a lot of slipcovers sell out pretty quickly. So if you were looking for that, if there's a couple titles you wanted for those, you may want to get those earlier than next weekend. But I mean, with the prices and with the stuff that is currently on sale, I don't see a lot of them selling out much anytime soon.
This is another sale that this popped up right after Criterion. Like, sorry.
Well, you got 3.5 weeks.
That is true. I've got all next month.
The Great Yiddish Cinema Set is only $16.99 in the sale, says Ronnie. That's a good choice. Kino's biggest announcement of the year so far is Night of the Juggler. That's probably up there. And then a question from Key-Ray. Craig, any chance you could release some Sirio Santiago films that have never had a disc release?
I'm not familiar with that name, so send us an email with your suggestions.
Go to the website. There is a suggestions box, essentially.
Yes, we've literally got multiple films in our schedule now that came directly from people sending us their wish lists. Films we probably otherwise wouldn't have known about. So yeah, we strongly encourage people to send us their wish lists. We love getting them.
All right. Almost done. Let's see. Peter says, as Amir, does it seem like the solid releases are finally starting to dwindle, at least for now? Is that just on the Kino sale, or are we saying overall? Because if it's overall, not really. I mean, it's just a slow announcement week, but it's one slow week in a sea of crazy weeks. And even then, tonight had some great stuff to talk about anyways. Speaking of great stuff, Le Chat Quifume, also known as the Smoking Cat over in France, announced that they are putting out a woman possessed and erotic witchcraft from 1975-72. I normally don't cover the Smoking Cat releases because they're generally not English friendly. However, I happen to know and got permission to share that there are U.S. releases planned for these two films coming in 2026. So I know a lot of people have wanted these titles because this director is pretty well known. However, if you want to hold out for something that will be much more English friendly, you should be able to pre-order those in 2026, and they will be in your hands in 2026. Good looking stuff and decent posters on both of them. I really like this one.
Old school.
Yes, very old school. But that is it. That is all of this week's announcements. We are done.
Whoa.
And Peter saying overall releases, maybe it's just me. Keep in mind, this is the calm before the storm. Tomorrow we've got Deaf Crocodile titles up for sale. We got Arrow titles up for sale. This weekend we've got Shout Factory coming on Monday. We've got TerrorVision titles coming on Monday. We've got OCN announcements on whatever the first is. Is that Tuesday, I think? It's about to be a really busy week for brand new announcements, believe me.
That's what I should do. April 1st, we should put out a press release that we're putting out a 100-film Shaw Brothers set.
Some people would be very excited, and for those that aren't, I'm sorry. Let's go to what's coming out next week, just in case you forgot, since we always cover this. Next week, Companion 4K, A Complete Unknown 4K, Ugetsu 4K from Criterion, the Summer Wars 4K Steelbook from Shout and G-Kids, Shoplifters, the Koreeda film finally getting a Blu-ray release.
Have you seen Shoplifters? I heard that was very good.
I have not. I was hoping that it was available to get sooner than this, but it just started shipping from Orbit. I'd wanted to see it. I will be watching it soon.
Yeah, I heard that was very good.
Then we got Renfield 4K from Scream Factory, Mufasa 4K from Disney, Inglourious Basterds Standard 4K, the Maboose Lives set from Eureka, Love Hurts 4K in the States, Dogman on Blu-ray, the Renfield 4K Steelbook, the hilarious Flight Risk Steelbook.
Can't lie, that Renfield Steelbook artwork is very cool.
I mean, I really like it with how they're harkening back to the old.
It only checks off one of the boxes though, because the film wasn't very good.
It was entertaining.
It was okay, and then really kind of fell apart at the end.
Yeah,
I don't think it ever reached like, oh wow, this is great.
Right. Flight Rick's 4K Steelbook, which reveals Wahlberg's hilarious hairstyle in that film. We were talking about James Bond. If you want the supposedly really great series, Icons Unearthed, the James Bond episode series, whatever they're doing, it's many hours long. That's available for Mill Creek next week. One of them days. I've not been able to see that yet, but I am dying to. One of my most anticipated from the last handful of months. Please Don't Destroy, the Treasure of Foggy Mountain is coming out from Shout Factory. Merry-Go-Round from Flicker Alley. The Bloody Lady at Arblos is finally going to be shipping. Liza from Kino Lorber. Harbin is coming from Wellgo USA on 4K. Burke and Hare from Kino Lorber. Love Me, another one I've been really interested in seeing. That one with Kristen Stewart and Stephen Yoon finally getting released. Lighthouse from Film Masters. And those are the big ones. Any of those you're hankering for there? If it's an off week, I totally get it.
Yeah, Inglourious Bastards, I feel like should be in my collection.
Yeah. Speaking of it, I think today or yesterday was Tarantino's birthday.
Well, happy birthday, you crazy bastard.
He's definitely a viewer, so yes, happy birthday, Quentin.
I forgot. I know we're going to rewind an hour and 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I did watch a movie. I finally saw Django.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Tarantino, I have heard about it for so many years. Finally bought the disc, popped it in, and first 10, 15 minutes, I was like, this is a bad knockoff of a Sergio Leone movie. But then as it kept going, I was like, okay, it's still definitely a knockoff of a Sergio Leone movie. But then it was also like the most Tarantino movie I think I've ever seen that he didn't actually direct. I mean, I know he lifts from a lot of movies, but Jesus, like that movie is like, if you had just said, yep, directed by Tarantino at the end, I would have bought it.
Are we talking about Django Unchained?
No, not Tarantino's film. The old.
Oh gosh, yeah. The actual Django. Oh, that's right. Yeah. You told me you watched the Arrow 4K.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I loved that movie.
But yeah, I can see where it's clearly a favorite of Mr. Tarantino's.
I mean, when you open the film with this intimidating guy dragging a coffin through,
it's a great opening.
Craziest terrain.
Yeah, it is a great opening.
Incredible.
But it was a lot of fun. But it would be interesting to be like, how would Leone have directed that film? Like,
right?
Because it's. I actually looked. I was like watching it, and I looked. I'm like, when did the Leone films come out? I'm like, yeah, okay, they were before this,
right?
Very obviously. But yeah, so I did actually watch one of my discs finally.
How'd you feel about the 4K?
It looked good. It defaulted to English dub, and honestly, about 5, I don't even think I made it 10 minutes.
Right.
And I checked, I'm like, if this doesn't have the original language and subtitles, I'm not going to watch this. The dub was so awful. So yeah, if you have it, for the love of God, watch it in the original language with subtitles.
I was going to complain to you. I went to watch Feliday a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't default to the English dub. Can you tell me why? I mean, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I will always prefer the original audio over the dubs. I can't listen to the dubs. They're so bad.
I'm just a little surprised that it defaulted to the dub. Like default to the original. Like the dub could be optional. That shouldn't be the default. Why would the default be like not the original film?
Not the original, right? Yeah, it's a good question.
Stupid.
It's weird. All right, on to our topic at hand tonight. In general, we're going to be talking about films that defied our expectations. Craig, what makes you feel set up for a film? Are you somebody that tries to avoid trailers? Are you somebody that you've heard about a film for so long and you've built it up in your mind and you'll be let down if it's not exactly what it could live up to?
I used to love watching trailers, and I'm sure a lot of people did, and there's probably still people that still do, but like I could waste a lot of time online just watching trailer after trailer after trailer. But trailers have gotten so, I don't know if bad's the right word. They're almost all the same now, regardless of what the film is. Like I've seen movies that were made for like young adults, and I've seen action movies, and I've seen even like dramas that all have the same like driving drum beats, like, you know, just it's this intense hammering like music. And I was like, this is what? Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter what the movie is. They are all exactly the same. And then apparently all the people that edit these poor things, like I feel bad for these guys. And I say guys, women, whoever's doing the editing of these trailers, because they've clearly been given the edict of like, you need to tell the entire story of the film in under 2.5 to 3 minutes. We like, don't miss a beat. Like the entire film needs to be covered. Everyone needs to know exactly what this film is. And I just hate it. There's like, I don't want the entire film explained to me, and I don't want, you know, a children's film given to me with the same intensity as like the next Michael Bay action film.
Right.
Like what the fuck? Pardon my language.
all of them with the same different cover song of some old pop hit from 1986 or whatever.
They've become so generic. Like they make me not want to see movies.
I get that.
They do the exact opposite of what they're supposed to be doing.
That being said, I feel like in the last year, we've actually seen a couple really great examples that make the bad ones stand out even more. I'll throw out the 28 Years Later trailer that we got.
I avoid them now, so I haven't seen most anything.
I will say that was maybe like one of the best trailers ever made. I thought it was incredible. Just today, we got a trailer for the next Paul Thomas Anderson film. The trailer itself, not coherent in any way. They're not giving us the plot.
I'll have to check it out.
It looks really good. I'm kind of impressed with it. That being said, everybody needs to go to the theater to see it because it is by far his most expensive film. Supposedly he's got to make like $300 million on it, or it will lose money. Which all of his movies have lost money, so that's not.
I'm going to say a Paul Thomas Anderson film. They gave him that kind of budget.
Yeah,
he wins awards. He doesn't win box office.
This is the most mainstream looking PTA film ever. And it looks like he's going to
check it out. I know nothing about it. I'll have to check out the trailer.
It looks like he's going to show some like blockbuster directors what you should be doing with the movie, which is nice.
Well, honestly, I mean, if you're talking about like the MCU stuff, like again, like the editors for the trailers, I feel bad for the directors they hire to do these things because they're not allowed to direct anything. They're like, those things are dictated by the producers to the nth degree. It's crazy, and they need to let go because people are getting tired of seeing the same film over and over and over again. Like one of the coolest things that Marvel's put out in the last couple of years was that Werewolf by Night that was on the Disney Plus, because it's completely different. Like they let whoever, you know, I can't remember who made it, but they let that person just do what they wanted, and it's so cool.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah,
But anyway,
I can't wait.
trailers. They used to get me excited to go to movies. Now it's mostly word of mouth. If you say it's good, then I'm interested.
I mean, for the most part, I agree. I don't know. I long for the days. I don't know if this is a shared experience for many people, but in 2007, sitting in a very slow computer, barely loading like 480p trailers on Apple Music, or not Apple Music, Apple trailers.
Yeah, it was Apple trailers. Yeah, you used to sit there and you could just go one after the other.
5 hours a day.
Trailers. Yeah,
so great.
And each one was different.
Yeah. That was a really good time for trailers. I was really happy back then. I was so glad that we could get some good ones, and it got me excited. And of course, many of these were films that would completely be different than the trailer that we saw, and so it's going to be a fun conversation tonight.
That was the other thing. You at least don't have that anymore. Like you watch a trailer today, you know exactly what you're going to see because they've showed you the whole thing. They did used to trick people back in the day where they'd show you a trailer. It could be a fantastic trailer. And then you went to see the movie and you're like, that was not the movie.
What about how the last couple of years they've been hiding musicals in the trailers?
Oh, that's just cruel.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. All 5 of these tonight for each of us could have a completely different reason why they defied our expectations. Can't wait to hear what you get into for these. So why don't we share your first one?
All right. So the idea behind this was not just films that like they weren't what you were expecting, but they might have, beyond not being what you expected, they kind of opened your mind to what you even expect the movie can be. Good or bad. I've seen some experimental stuff and I'm like, yes, I guess some people call that a movie. Yep. Which I know, I'm being small-minded. I can't love everything. But the first thing that came to mind immediately was there's a couple here that I actually worked on. So this one was Funeral Parade of Roses. I don't have these in any order. So, but it was made by an experimental filmmaker, and some of his experimental films I still don't understand. But he made this feature that it's almost undefinable. It's at least 4 different genres. Comedy, melodrama, documentary, horror film. It's all over the place, and it all works. With one of the most fantastic endings you do not see coming. And I still to this day remember my reaction when I first saw it, because I was sitting at my desk watching it before we were starting the restoration. And it holds you because you don't know where it's going to go next. And then the big reveal at the end, literally I sat back in my chair. I was like, holy shit. Like, I did not see that coming. That is so friggin' amazing. So it's a film that I went into kind of, it's described as like a gay film. And it's made by an experimental filmmaker. 2 things that generally aren't my favorites. A lot of quote unquote gay films they've got a gay subject matter, but then they're horribly made movies.
Right.
So like, okay, great. It's going to be a bad movie made by an experimental filmmaker. And that was not what it was. Well, that's not what it was at all. It was spectacular. Everything about it is just perfection. The cinematography is gorgeous. The fact that in the middle of the film, it will jump out of the film and they're interviewing the actors, asking them about acting in the film or what it's like to be gay. You're like, wait a second, I was just watching a movie. Now it's a documentary. What's going on? it's an incredible movie. Super proud to have been able to work on the restoration of it. But that's the first film that came to mind when I suggested this. So it's just the first one I wrote down in my notes. So, yeah.
Damn good pick.
So keeping your, be willing to see something you don't necessarily either think you're going to like, or you don't know what it is you're getting into. And that goes for not just movies. That's everything. Like,
yeah,
be willing to experience something new. Like, sure, you might not like it, but it's not going to kill you. And there's a good chance you're going to be blown away and be like, holy shit, my mind has been expanded. Like, should be a life goal.
So Craig's first pick was Funeral Parade of Roses. Mine, this is one that has just not left my mind. This is going to be silly because I talked about this as a recent watch just a couple of weeks ago, but I kind of wanted to go into it a little bit more. So I'm going to go with a movie that blew me away, Henry Gamble's Birthday Party. And I was watching this because I was working on another project with somebody, and the films that they usually like are indie, usually decent stories, but not great acting. Something that you would see at a festival and then probably never see again, never give a second thought to. The film itself, the biggest names in the movie are Pat Healy, who is playing a pastor. Not something I ever expected in film. And then the other big name is Joe Keery from Stranger Things. And Henry Gamble's Birthday Party takes the youth group culture of 2008 all the way through like 2016 of very American white Baptist style Christian youth group culture, and elevates it into a way that I've never seen realistically put into any single art form. And I got to be honest, about 3 minutes into this movie, I thought this was going to suck. I thought that they were going to do some things to be edgy on purpose, just to show like, oh yeah, some of these people are sinners, whatever. No, this movie rules. Henry Gamble's Birthday Party, it shows like a modern side of youth culture that is really hard to capture on film in a really unique way. It is empathetic to other kinds of lifestyles, understanding that a lot of people that are going to these youth group cultures aren't necessarily going because they're religious, but because they want to be accepted. And there are certain characters that are showing fluidity with their sexuality. There are characters that are struggling with literally suicidal ideation. There are individuals that are accepting of everybody around them in a church setting. So people like that can and do exist. They're just not the loud ones usually. It is a view of people that are not given enough light. And this film blew me away. As somebody that was raised in a church, raised in youth group culture, fell in love with my wife through youth group, married to the person that I love now because of our history with the church. And I was just completely taken with this film. It is well made. It takes place over one day. It is beautifully shot, incredibly acted, and you have likely never heard of this movie other than
never heard of it.
Me talking about it, or I guess Celeste watched it recently as well. Celeste, when I posted that I'd seen this, Celeste was like, "How did you even find this movie?" It's incredible. People need to go check it out. It's a beautiful story.
We probably should add links into the description of this thing, and when we're done to all these things,
probably,
because I know every week I'm just like, oh, that sounds amazing. And then if you had a link there, it's make it super easy to go click.
I've tried to do that. I will do this here. I will throw up letterbox links in the live chat. So the one I just talked about is now in the live chat. I'll get Funeral Parade of Roses, and I will get one for everyone that we're talking about moving forward.
Because that sounds like an interesting film.
It's very good. So what's the next one for you?
When did it come out?
Henry Gamble's Birthday Party is from 2015, and I think I watched it. I think it was on Tubi. I think. So it's free. You should be able to access it on Tubi. It does not have a Blu-ray, Paul. I don't know that this director has anything on Blu-ray, which is really depressing. I think his whole filmography deserves to be on Blu-ray.
I see the question there from Ronnie. I believe the BFI release is the same one that we restored through. It started as Cinelicious Picks, and then we took it over to Arbelos. Should be the same restoration.
Yep. All right. Next one from you.
Next one. Let's see. There's only one more that I worked on. Let's get that out of the way. Satan Tango.
It's a big one.
Literally. It's like I was, this is another Arbelos restoration release that I didn't have much say at all in what we released there. So I was informed that I would be restoring a 7.5 hour black and white Hungarian film.
Let's not exaggerate. It's 7 hours and 12 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe I was told 7.5, though, so that's not. Does that include the 2 intermissions?
Probably not. Probably not.
So anyway, to say I was not looking forward to seeing this film would be an understatement.
Yeah.
I don't care how much people said it's a masterpiece. I'm like, there's no way it's that good. And then I saw it, and honest to God, sitting there in the theater, watching it did not feel that long to me. Granted, I have a very high tolerance for long movies. And honestly, with the one viewing, I wasn't 100% sure exactly what had that plot-wise,
right,
what was exactly going on in the film. But I had never experienced an immersion into a film like that ever in my life. And that's immersing the audience into the film is what most filmmakers are striving for. And they come up with idiotic things like 3D to try and get people to feel like they're there. Or I worked for over a decade at IMAX, which instead of 3D, sometimes also 3D, is just that the screen is so big that it kind of envelops your peripheral vision and you can literally feel like you're there. Seeing Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight in IMAX, the opening the whole opening sequence was shot with IMAX cameras, so seeing that projected in 15 perf 70 millimeter, the opening shot of him standing on the street corner, you literally feel like you're standing on the street corner. It's there's really no other experience quite like that. But I discovered with Satan Tango, there's another way to get your audience completely sucked into the film, and that's to just not ever fucking cut away. Like, he has shots of like a child, there's a dot in the horizon running towards the camera, and you sit there the whole time as they get there to the camera. But then just the technical aspect of the filmmaking is not only are you taking all that time, but the shot doesn't then finally end when they get there.
Right.
They then pan and follow the child, and like it's not the single take kind of gimmick. It's not that. Like, he cuts, there's edits, but everything is so slow and methodical, and you don't cut away from things very often, that it's over time, and just the length of the film itself, it just draws you in, and you're living this experience with these characters. It was an experience that I just was kind of blown away. So Satan Tango, like, I did not expect that I would like it at all, and it just opened my mind. Like, there are other ways of telling a story. There are other ways for filmmakers to draw you into the story they're telling, and just literally length of time is another way of doing it, and it absolutely works if you're willing to let it. Like I said, I like long films, so I'm never sitting in my seat thinking, Jesus, this is long. Like, what's like? I mean, I go with it. It's like, I mean, I think it's almost like, hypnotism. Like, you're watching a film. If you're going to fight the film the whole time, you're not really going to enjoy it as much, and you're not going to let yourself be immersed by it. Like, let yourself go with the film, with the filmmaker. Satan Tango is an amazing film, and I got to spend a week with Bellatar sitting in the grading suite in Hungary, and that dude is a trip.
Excellent, solid pick. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's Satan Tango. Like, it's so well known, obviously, for being long, but for being just one of the most attaching films for so many people. If you buy in, it holds tight.
Yeah, it's long for a reason. Like, obviously, if you broke down the plot of the story they're trying to tell, you could probably do it in 90 minutes. But it would be a completely different experience.
And not worth it, probably.
Yeah, like, it would be so vastly different. If you are willing, get the disc. I don't know if it's still playing in theaters. I mean, there's DCPs of it now since we did the restoration, so it probably pops up here and there. Worth it.
Yeah. You got a question from Ancient Pixels. Craig is a fan of Benny's Bathtub and other Hastrup's works. Do you think you could ever license more of his animated films in the future? Perhaps War of the Birds or Subway to Paradise?
Anything's possible. It's not on our radar right now, but yeah, we don't say hardcore just no to most things. So we'll see. We have an absolute insane amount of animation coming. So,
and not just animation, you have a dearth of titles. I mean, you say you're scheduled till the middle of 2026, and that's not even everything.
It's
gonna be a busy time.
Very busy.
My next one is, it is not the most recent film. I've got one more that's slightly more recent, but it's a fairly recent film. This one is just from 2022, and according to the people that I trust, I was supposed to hate this movie. I went into this very cynical.
That's exactly why you probably liked it. I should preface all of these things with the secret to happiness in life. And this is going to sound like a joke, but I'm absolutely serious. Lower your goddamn expectations.
And be open-minded.
Of everything. Of life in general. Like, when you have expectations, all you could possibly do is set yourself up for disappointment. Because even if it meets your expectations, you're going to be like,
Well,
you know,
this far
like,
exceeded
just
mine.
go in. I'm not saying you shouldn't actually lower your expectations. Just don't have any. Just accept things for what they are, and you will be so much happier in watching movies, in everything. Just let things be what they are.
And this is one of those times that it absolutely colored my my experience, unfortunately. So I was ready to find flaws. I was ready to find a film that was too loud, that I didn't care about. But I was thrilled, and here is the link in the chat now, with 2022's Babylon, another film that's a longer film. This is a good 3-hour, 20-minute movie. I know a lot of people that are seeing a movie.
Everybody shit on that movie.
Starring Margot Robbie and Brad Pitt, directed by Damien Chazelle. That a lot of people didn't like La La Land because of whitewashing type of things. A lot of people thought he got cheesy a little bit. Babylon is fucking amazing. If you like filmmaking, Babylon is an incredible story. Yes, it can be loud sometimes. It can be brash. That's just filmmaking. That's just crazy Hollywood. The sets in this film are sumptuous. The way that they are able to get some of the shots in this are amazing. I mean, this movie, like 40 seconds into it, there's an elephant pooping. It's funny. There's so much in this movie that are just random ass happenstances that I'm just entertained the entire time. It is incredible. Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie had extremely good chemistry in this. All of the random situations that people got them in, I don't understand why people could hate it. It's kind of like loud and crude in a lot of situations, and that is how a lot of these just weird ass Hollywood situations are. Like, there's no denying that. I think Babylon is magnificent, and in 5 years, people are going to turn around and be like, "Why do we hate this?" Because it is so good.
Yeah. I need to see it. It's another one where, in general, I like the director. He's been a little hit or miss for me. La La Land's not so much his fault. I just don't like 90% of musicals.
Right.
And yeah, it's definitely like, I could tell that the amount of hate it was getting was undeserved. Even if I see it and I don't like it, there's no way it deserved the amount of hate it got.
Right. It was far too much. And I know a lot of people hate Margot Robbie for some reason. She was incredible in this film. Incredible.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't watch trailers. I decide what to watch because you tell me, and you just said I should watch Babylon. So it's on the list now.
I love that pretty much everybody in the chat is agreeing. That's nice. Nice to see that. All right.
You got classy fans.
What is the next one from you?
Well, it works out nicely that you picked one that a lot of people hated, because I'm just going down my list. Like I said, it's not in order other than how I wrote it down. A lot of people hate this movie. Tenet, Christopher Nolan. I really enjoyed it. And I think it ties directly into what I was just ranting about earlier. I didn't have expectations,
right?
Other than Christopher Nolan is a brilliant filmmaker. You might not like his films, but you can't deny, like, dude knows how to make a movie.
Of course.
Tenet. The one complaint I keep hearing people get so upset over is that it's incoherent. Like, they've watched it, and after it's over, they have no friggin' idea what they just watched. And my answer to that is, so what? Like, I don't need to understand everything to enjoy the experience of watching it. Like,
that is true.
Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the experience of watching that film. And because I don't understand every little detail, it lends itself to rewatching. It lends itself to you thinking about it and making up your own decision of what what it's about or what you watched. Like, I trust that Christopher Nolan and his history of filmmaking and writing did not just like, oops, like it makes no sense when you break it down. Like he's too, what's the word? He micromanages. Like his films are his films. There's no way that every line in that film was not exactly how he wanted it. And the fact that it doesn't make sense is intentional.
A lot of the same people that were saying Tenet was bad because it was incoherent are the same people that praise Mulholland Drive. And Mulholland Drive. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's a very different film, and Christopher Nolan certainly doesn't have a long history of making weird, incoherent films like David Lynch did. So you went in with expectations. It's going to be a Christopher Nolan film. It's going to make sense, and it's going to look pretty. And it didn't make sense, and you're upset. That's on you. You shouldn't have had expectations. Enjoy the movie for what it is. It's a wild ride with lots of things to think about, and visually just stunning from beginning to end with great performances. Like it doesn't deserve all the shit it got. And again, why is it on this list? Because it taught me I don't need to understand every aspect of something to enjoy it. Like, I am okay going through life. The answer, I don't know, is a completely legitimate answer to something.
Right.
Like, you don't have to understand everything. I missed that. Something about, I just hate his sad...
Cold is hilarious. I can't stand Nolan, but I don't expect coherence. I just hate his sad straight man vibes, which made me laugh so hard.
Okay, well... I mean, I also have the benefit of... by no means, I mean, like, want to say this like, oh, like, yeah, we're buds. But I've met him, worked on several of his films that he did through IMAX, and of all the filmmakers that came through that place, he took his shit more seriously and knew what he was doing tenfold over the next person down. Like, so I have mad respect for his filmmaking.
That's incredible.
And he treats it with respect, like in seriousness. Like he's the real deal. Like, and he's English. Come on. Of course he's gonna look like a sad white guy.
Because he is.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, so yeah, that one's on my list because it cemented for me. I can enjoy a movie and not know what the hell's going on. Just enjoy the experience and the ride. And yeah, I kind of prefer if it's not completely just laid out for you, because what are you going to think about after the movie's over if every question's been answered?
It's a good question.
So there's my third one.
Not to change the subject or anything, but while we're talking about Nolan and you being involved with IMAX, I had just had this random thought. Have you paid attention to this whole sphere that went up in Vegas? And any thoughts on what that would be like to experience that after working at IMAX?
I don't know technically how it works. I know with like IMAX dome theaters, there's a bit of a contrast issue because the screen is round, so it's reflecting light on itself. So you have some contrast issues. And then most of the stuff that's shown in a dome type thing wasn't shot to be seen in a dome. I saw one film where it was these people carrying a canoe, and it was just ridiculous because like there's like way over here is the front of the canoe, and then it wraps all the way around in front of you, and the back of the canoe's over here. And I was like, well, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
So if they've resolved the contrast thing is probably not an issue, because I'm guessing, with Dome it was projection. With this thing, it's probably like LED. So the light source is the screen.
Yeah.
So the contrast issue is probably not as big of an issue. And hopefully the content that they're showing, I think everything I've heard of so far is stuff that was literally made specifically for that venue. So it's probably really freaking cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things that they're showing is a U2 live concert that they filmed specifically for this, and that sort of thing. Like, I'm not a giant fan of U2, but to be able to sit there and literally all around you be able to see every
literally like you're there, yeah, and you've probably got like the best seat in the house.
Insanity. And they charge like it is too, supposedly. Even
that's the downside. The whole point of this being like it should be democratizing is like, oh, everyone can afford to see U2 now and sit in the front row. It was like, no, they're charging front row U2 tickets prices. I'm like, what the but you get to show it multiple times a day, every day. Like, you bastards.
I think it would be fun to see once for sure, but I don't know. I'm
surprised. Just in general, I'm always surprised how concert films aren't more popular. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's. I think part of it might be because of the way they're distributed. They're kind of distributed like a regular film, where they'll just like market it, have trailers. It comes out on a certain day everywhere, and then it's gone a week or two later. Like, I would think if you're doing a concert film, distribute it like a concert. Like, announce show dates in all of these different cities, and have it tour around the country, and have it be in a place for, they're going to do like a couple of days, or, if it's a place that the band's extra popular, maybe it's there for a whole week, but like
sell
no longer.
A lanyard or something.
And then it moves. And it moves around the country like a tour would, and you get to see it. Because of the concert films I'm seeing, and I haven't seen that many, they're amazing. Like, you got like front row seats with incredible sound, and no one's pushing and shoving. Like, the parking's easy, like it's like the best of a concert without all the bad parts of a concert. After Prince died, they were showing Purple Rain, and a lot of places were even showing his concert film Sign of the Times. And so I every time it was playing, I saw it in the theaters here, and like seeing Sign of the Times in a theater is fantastic. It's like,
especially with a bunch of Prince fans. Yeah.
I mean, like the whole audience, like you kind of like it's like you treat it like you're at a concert. Like people start standing up, like after songs, people are applauding. Like it's like being at the concert. Concert films are great. I wish they were more popular. We did one at IMAX in was it 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. It was a film called, what was it called? Backstage? No, something. I can't remember the name of it. It flopped. But at the time, they got all of the top artists, like all the people that were super popular at the time, and a couple of like classic artists, and they convinced them, like, let us shoot you performing like one, maybe two songs, and we'll shoot them with the IMAX cameras, and then we're going to put together basically a compilation concert where people can go and see it in IMAX, and they'll have all of these artists. It was like Macy Gray and Moby and Kid Rock, and it was like Sheryl Crow, and part of the problem, like, and it totally flopped. And so, everyone was like, well, why did it flop? Because the idea was like, well, we'll get a wide range of artists, so everyone will have at least someone they like. Yeah. But it worked the other way, I think, is like, well, I only like two artists in the lineup, and they only do two songs. So, but if you had wide-ranging taste in music, I enjoyed like every performance. It was incredible. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
All Access. It was called All Access. So yeah, it's. I don't know how the hell we got talking about concert films.
Because I brought up the Dome and
the Dome,
or not the Dome. Was it?
Yeah,
the Sphere?
Vegas, the Sphere. Yeah, but yeah, like if you're doing U2 concert, like it's a shame that they're gouging people for the price. But what do you expect?
Yeah. All right, so this next one, I'm going to go back to 2011 with a film that I freaking love, one of my favorite of all time. This is the first film I had seen from this director. I did not know what to expect, and after even like the first half hour, when you think you've got this understood, this film blew me away, and that is Pedro Almodovar's The Skin I Live In. Easily one of the best films I've ever seen. Antonio Banderas is fucking insane in this. He's so good. This movie has a couple points where you realize, God, these people are just simply the worst. And then somehow there is a couple moments in this movie that turn everything that you were ready for on its head. And it's the best version of like that M. Night Shyamalan, what a twist type of moment, without it necessarily being a twist, and just really saying, you thought you knew what this movie was about. Fuck you. We're telling a completely different story. And it was the first time from a filmmaker like this that I felt so taken advantage of in a really good way, because I was invested in this character arc. I was invested in the story. And to have that rug pulled out from under you like that, I fell in love with this movie. For those that have never seen it, this is a movie about this plastic surgeon who has made a new version of skin. It can literally withstand any sort of damage. It can be hurt in all kinds of different ways. But of course, you can't like get grants and stuff for that, because nobody's going to ethically be able to test that. And so he finds a way to test it in the craziest of ways. He literally has somebody kidnapped and says, we're going to test this bitch now. And it goes there. There's a lot of really crazy things that in that plot you can think in your mind would go crazy. I guarantee it goes a couple steps further than all those. Pedro Almodovar is...
Yeah, he's not known for holding back.
No. After having watched this and then a few others, he is a magnificent filmmaker. I got to say, one of the coolest moments of going to California last year was standing in the Academy Museum. And at the time, they had a, not large, it wasn't as big as the John Waters exhibit or anything, but they had a very small section dedicated to the art of Pedro Almodovar. And they just had posters of all of his films. And it was so...
I remember that, yeah.
It was so crazy to see the juxtaposition from each one, and yet having watched them and having each one immediately bring you back to those moments, because his movies mean so damn much. They sit with you. They weigh on you. They are experiences to relive. And this movie really changed the way I look at a lot of things, and I could not be happier with it, because it is one that woke me up. This movie, The Skin I Live In, is a modern masterpiece, and one that so few still have seen somehow. Definitely one that absolutely should be watched by everybody.
I need to see more of his films. I think I've only seen Talk to Her, which was... again, pretty out there. But yeah, with you raving about this one and just knowing his reputation, like I need to see more than just one of his films.
Yeah, and there was a rumor for a little while that his films that were out on Criterion were going to get clawed back, and Sony was going to release them themselves. It looks like they've made their way back on Blu-ray for the most part. But either way,
we were looking at a list of available titles from a distributor, and a bunch of his stuff was in the list as available.
Wow.
So I'm sure if there's stuff that's been out of print, somebody's gobbled them up, and they'll be coming back.
That would be amazing. This is an absolute recommendation. This is literally one of my favorite films of all time. It is worth a watch for literally anyone, and will tell things with like the medical side and gender and politics in ways that you're not expected to be wrapped up in this film. It's incredible.
I'll have to check it out again.
All right.
Ryan says so. So got to see it.
Couple more left for us. What do you got next?
All right, the next one is it's just a film that I've just absolutely loved from the moment I saw it, and I don't know anybody else who's seen it. The Visitor, starring Richard Jenkins. It was written and directed by Tom McCarthy, who did The Station Agent and Spotlight. Those two films much more popular than The Visitor. It's interesting. I think, again, I benefited from, I don't even think I knew what it was about when I went to see it. I went because Richard Jenkins is always great in everything he's ever done, and he is rarely the lead. And he's the lead of this film. And the movie is just, it's one of those films that I think is, I can't think of a flaw. It's kind of perfect. The script, the acting, the directing, the plot, like I have zero notes. Like,
wow.
And Richard Jenkins is brilliant, as you would expect. But again, you never see him carrying a whole thing. He's always like a supporting actor, and he's always brilliant. He's carrying this whole film. And the part that's really stuck with me was how smart the ending was. It's an absolute perfect ending. And I don't want to, it's not that it's a twist, but it requires you to have been paying attention to the film to get why it ended the way it did. And if you understood why it ended the way it did, you just bow, bravo, just brilliant. I saw it with my brother. He loved it, and I kept raving about how great the ending was. And he's like, why? He's like, I didn't quite understand the ending. And then when I explained why he did what he did at the end, he's like, oh, that's really cool. But it's super, nothing bombastic happens. Like he plays this guy who has an apartment on the side, and he goes in and he finds these people living in it, and weirdly ends up befriending them. And it's an issue movie, which is really, really appropriate at this time. It's about immigration and people getting deported, and while that's kind of the what the movie is about, it's much more about the relationships between the people than the immigration. Like that's what pulls them through the story, but it's really about their relationships. And again, Richard Jenkins, he never goes over the top. Like there was a scene where it's like any other actor, this scene would have been I want to win an award, I'm going to go big here. And I don't know if it was his decision to not do it, or if the director was like, no, we're not playing that game. But it played out the way that scene would play out in real life. You know, like when you see people yelling and screaming and crying, That's not how most people behave themselves through their lives. That's
Right.
There might be a few people that are like that over the top, but yeah, he just plays it as you would expect. No yelling, and it works. Like, it makes the scene so powerful because you just completely believe it. Can't recommend it higher. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wow. I've heard good things about this, but never even I never had a chance to see it. Knowing it's on Tubi and Prime is nice. And there's still a Blu-ray that you can pick up quite cheap. I love Richard Jenkins. Going all the way back to things like 6 Feet Under. He's incredible. He is always so good.
Yeah, he if anyone wonders if he can carry a movie, like, in the soft, gentle way that he is, absolutely he can carry a movie. Like,
nice.
It's absolutely one of my all-time favorite films. And
Speaking
it's one of those like you can rewatch simply to just marvel at how, like, there's no flaws.
Yeah.
There's very few movies that, like, no matter how much I love them, I can always usually find like something where I'm just like, it would be perfect. If it was perfect, if it wasn't for that, I'd still give it 5 stars, but it would be like absolute perfection if it had just this or just that. Like this one, I got nothing.
Love that.
And a lot of people will probably watch it and be like, well, that was fucking boring. But it spoke to me.
I'm glad it did. I definitely need to see it as well. My next one, you mentioned it being one of your favorite films. Oh, look at that. There's Gage. We talked about him earlier.
Hey, hello.
I am going to talk about one from the 80s that is kind of the opposite of what I felt. When I talked about Babylon, everybody said that I was going to hate it. This is one that everybody said I was going to love, and I easily could have had too high of expectations. But I want to talk about how this film made me appreciate a couple things, and that is 1987's Broadcast News. Broadcast News is, on its surface, you could really sum this up as a love triangle story at a news station starring William Hurt and Albert Brooks, Holly Hunter. But really, this movie is so much about William Hurt and Holly Hunter that Albert Brooks is great in this, but he kind of takes a little back seat to the other two. This movie kind of taught me how to appreciate dialogue, because this is probably the best written dialogue ever. It is something that I expected to like the film because, movies about making movies or broadcasting or how the sausage is made through entertainment, they're always fun. But this movie takes like creating chemistry and inbuilt tension and drama between people, and then using realistic language to develop characters in a way that I never expected to get from a film. This is the movie that made me fall for William Hurt. This is the movie that made Holly Hunter look like one of the most approachable people in filmmaking. I could not believe how much more I felt like I got out of this film on a personal level because of the way that they spoke. And I will never probably be able to lose that feeling about this movie. Every single time I've watched it, I feel like that's even gotten stronger. And yet so many people don't like this movie for similar reasons. It's just that it's maybe boring to some people.
I'm assuming it must be people that are younger, because I have never heard anybody say anything bad about this film ever.
Right.
87. I probably saw it when it first came out, and I just don't remember because I saw pretty much everything back in my teen days. And if I did, I probably thought it was boring because I was young. but yeah, it's definitely one that I definitely need to revisit because I'm certain I will appreciate it so much more now. Hey, another cat.
Nice.
Flutters. But yeah, I definitely need to revisit it because, especially if you're heaping that level of praise on it, like, and William Hurt is really good.
Yeah.
I need to see it. Damn it. I don't have time to watch all these movies.
Same. I feel the same way. And genuinely, for me, this is one that made me appreciate other films more. It is one of those that make you feel like you're watching a magic trick. And to me, it's those moments that you're reaching for with films a lot of the time. It's from one magic trick to another, one that makes you feel like, man, they got me again.
It's really interesting how, like, some movies are brilliant because they're obviously movies,
right?
And then there's others that you just kind of forget it's a movie.
Yeah.
And both can be equally as entertaining, just in completely different ways. You know, like I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan. But his filmmaking is in your face. Like, yep. the act of his making a film is part of the film.
It's capital F films,
right?
Yeah.
Whereas like lots of other things like broadcast news or the Visitor, the filmmaking disappears.
Yep.
You know, and you're just like, it's over, and you're like, holy fuck! Like, was that real? Like.
And that's the thing about broadcast news. A lot of the chemistry that is literally, in many ways, especially from Albert Brooks, oozing off the screen, it feels genuine. These are real people, not characters. They have known each other for years and have this built-in workplace tension and like weird sexual compatibility between them that is driving the overall chemistry just off the charts. It feels so realistic in this film.
Shit, I need to watch this sooner than later.
I'm surprised this one has not got a 4K yet. I expected it to a while ago. Great movie, got a good Criterion release. Check it out.
Yeah, it's interesting that every one of yours is, yeah, I'm like, I need to see that right now. Like,
that's how I feel about yours too. Unfortunately, one of yours is as long as all of mine combined.
All right, I got one more.
Last one. So do I.
And this one is, I don't know, feels like a lot of people are going to be like, really? Kind of obvious or basic, but going way back to, I think, 1946. This one really woke me up to old movies can be amazing. Because I think it's 1946. I saw this when I was probably early teen. My mom had said, "Oh yeah, it's a great movie. You should watch that." Popped it in, and the opening shot, I was like, "What? This is like fantasy. They made fantasy movies back then." It's a Wonderful Life. It's fucking brilliant. I mean, it's become a cliche of itself because of how much it's a Christmas movie now.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You can watch this any time of the year. It doesn't, like, the fact that it is set during Christmas time. Who gives a shit? That's not what it's about. Yeah, it's just, it totally blew my mind that like an old film could, one, not be just based in reality.
Right.
Two, like, it's dark. Like, it's dark.
Yep.
Yeah, like it just blew me away. I was like, holy hell. And from that moment on, anybody that said, I don't like old movies, I don't like black and white movies, I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. Like, you're throwing away, 60 years, 70 years, depending on what you define as an old movie. Certainly, if your cutoff is black and white, you're throwing away at least like 60 years of films that are absolutely incredible. There's nothing people are making stories of today that is new. Like the perfect example of this is like anytime you think we're like, oh well, it's old. They weren't as sophisticated. They didn't know this. They didn't know that. It wasn't a movie, but when we were on vacation years ago, we were in a bookstore in Paris, and there was a book that was a collection. It was one person's huge collection of pornographic photography, going back to the dawn of cameras, like 1800s onward. And flipping through this book, it was just mind-blowing. It was like, yeah, like everyone thinks like, oh, if it's old, then it's, no. Anything you've ever thought of or done, people have been doing it since fucking caveman days.
Right.
So to think that a film from 1946 can't be sophisticated or can't be about this subject or that subject, or can't be as intriguing or entertaining as a new movie, get your head out of your ass. Like seriously, it's just foolishness. I mean, I don't know if Scorsese was the first person to say it. I just saw a meme with his face on it. But like, there aren't any old movies. They're just movies you haven't seen yet.
Right.
Like, to just shut yourself off to half of the history of cinema because it's old, you're just being an idiot. I'm sorry.
I mean, honestly, I'd throw the same type of shade to anybody that's talking about modern cinema too. There's still great things being made.
Yeah.
And yet there's lots of people that won't watch stuff post 2000. There's still incredible films coming out. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's like to think that probably if you look back and you list all like when we look back at old films, it's usually, the good ones are the ones that have risen to the top and we still can easily go back and see and be like, yeah, see, great movies. Well, flip that over. And today, there's going to be a smattering of really great films today and a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing going back in history. Like, it's just that the crap's gotten forgotten. And so, people that are just like, oh, well, new films suck. I was like, well, no, there are lots of shitty old films too, but that doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's like,
right.
There are phenomenal old films. And for the most part, if they're old and people are still talking about them, there's a damn good reason.
This is true. Absolutely true.
Rant over.
Well, mine is the complete opposite of that, hilariously, because I saved my newest one for last. And it is a 2024 film that surprised me because I have caught myself being cynical about things like legacy sequels or prequels that come out years later or remakes, just like many people in the chat, probably just like many people in all of these, Facebook groups talking about what films are coming out. People shit on stuff before they've even seen a single frame. And I got to admit, when I was growing up, the Omen franchise was very important to me, and I was shocked with how much I loved the first Omen last year. Neil Tiger Free, starring in this prequel, is a powerhouse performance that rivals so many incredible female-led horror movies from last year. Possibly, one of the 3 best performances in any of those, which is crazy in a year that we saw stuff like The Substance and Smile 2 literally get an Oscar nom for Demi, and people upset that Smile 2 did not get any recognition or awards love, and that sort of thing is unheard of for something like Smile 2. And yet Neil Tiger Free in The First Omen is like subtly incredible. As a prequel movie, this movie is so odd because it does sort of change a tiny bit of lore compared to the First Omen film. But for a prequel that comes out,
that is the only thing that still kind of bugs me, is that everything now is a pre-sequel.
Yes.
Like it's like a remake and either sequel or prequel. Like, so I was looking forward to this one as well. Like I saw the trailer for this one, and like you, the original films like introduced me to horror films.
Yep.
So is this a remake prequel?
No, this literally leads into the original Omen film. This is fully a prequel. That being said, if you are super anal about details, there's one thing that is going to slightly bug you if you've seen the original one recently, because they do sort of muck something up in regards to it. That being said, The First Omen is incredible. The story is well written. It is incredibly well acted. Ralph Ineson is amazing in this movie too. Second only to Neil Tiger Free. The sets in this movie are astonishing. The deaths in this movie are crazy, and it's not like a slasher. If you've seen the Omen series, this feels very fit in the Omen franchise, and
nice.
That's why this surprised the hell out of me, because I thought this was going to be god awful. I originally, when this came out, this is such a weird time in 2024 cinematic history that we had this and Immaculate, 2 films essentially about nuns out at the same time, both with beautiful settings, both with strong female lead performances, and I chose to go see Immaculate in the theaters and wait on First Omen. I should have done the opposite. Even though I still love Immaculate, I thought it was great. It's just not nearly as good as The First Omen. This movie is part of a very strong horror 2024. Got talked about a lot last year, and I fear it's going to be forgotten because this does not deserve to be stuck with the argument against remakes or prequels or sequels. I mean, this came out 50 years after the original film,
and the Omen franchise doesn't have a big like Freddy Krueger or Jason or Michael Myers. Right. It doesn't have a standout.
There's no big bad
slasher character to make dolls of and sell merch. Like,
yeah,
it's the kind of horror movies I like. That's why I'm not a huge horror fan, because most films aren't like The Omen. I like The Omen because it's, there could be a 45-minute stretch where nobody dies, and it's just creepy. Like, it has a vibe that goes through the whole film, and then, with just like spikes of violence here or there. I mean, the greatest Omen death, in my opinion, wasn't even like all that. It wasn't even bloody, It was a kid trapped into the ice. It was fucking terrifying.
Yep. Yeah, this is a franchise that dealt in like ominous dread and not.
I was just reading that quote. Dread. That is the perfect word. It's the Omen. Just has a veil of dread just all over it. And if you're saying this new one fits the bill, god damn it. I don't know when I'm going to find time to watch it, but it's weird. It's like, I'm not typically what, most horror fans just love all things horror, and the bloodier and the gorier, the better. And so I just, whenever someone's like, "Are you a horror fan?" I'm like, "Not really." But the ones I like, I really fucking like.
Yep.
Because they can scare me, not with a jump scare that makes me jump out of my seat. I'll be fucking unnerved by it a month later. You know what I mean? It's the jump scares and the gore. Not interested. I want this to freaking freak me out to my core for the rest of my life.
Yep. I want it to linger. I want it to be heavy. I want it to be something that I dread. Yes.
Exactly. So why on earth someone would want to feel that way, God only knows. But it's they make their great movies. I'm very glad to hear that this new one is up to the task of the original. So I'll probably end up having to try and see, of all the ones you listed, this is the one I'll probably try and squeeze in first.
It's worth it. It's not a long watch, and it's just so well made.
Like you said, it's because, really my introduction to horror was The Omen. There was I don't know if we had HBO or what. I was way too friggin' young. Like, I don't even think I was a teen yet.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it was probably my older brother that was watching them, but I would pretend to be sleeping on the couch.
Yep.
And I saw the Omen, the Omen 2, Amityville Horror, the Car. There were a bunch that I don't even know what they were. There's just images just seared in my brain.
Yep.
And I can't. Maybe you're and someone in the channel will probably know because there's a lot of horror fans here. There was a woman ironing, and then she just takes the iron and just kills somebody by just smashing it, just burning their face with it. And it's probably like a mid-late 70s era. But yeah, seeing that as probably a 10-year-old, I don't know what movie it was, but I'm never going to forget that scene. Freaked me out. But yeah, The Car, I rewatched that again not too long ago, and that one's kind of silly, but yeah, as a little kid, just a black ominous car that's killing people.
Yep. Gotta love it. Yeah, I mean, similar to you. It wasn't HBO, but I think I saw Halloween, and then after that, I really immersed myself in The Omen because we had all of them on VHS, and good God, I watched all of them so many times. Even Sam Neill, who is Sam Neill. It's not the best movie, but it made a lot of those feelings actually linger, actually feel a lot of dread. Omen as a franchise is really well done as actual films and not just horror films. Oh, look at that. The iron scene is from The Omen 3.
Wonder when that came out.
The Omen 3 would have been 80? Something like that. 81.
81. Yeah, I should not have been seeing that. Because even if it were on cable a year or two later, that means I was 10 or 11.
Yeah. Yeah, these are good, solid list of 5 films. Totally understandable why they would all be surprising or defy your expectations. This was a really fun discussion. This was a great topic.
Yeah, and again, I get to talk with you about movies. Seriously, I will do this every week.
Well, we'll put you on the schedule for another one.
So much fun. Yeah, and yeah, your list of 5 films as well. Every one of them, I want to see them.
Yeah, I mean, certain things like I don't know how I haven't watched Tenet yet. I've wanted to. It's just not one I've gotten around to. I need to.
Okay, go in with no expectations. And
I've improved on that front. I think I do.
And enjoy the process.
I agree.
What is like the oldest like advice in the world is like it's the journey, not the destination.
Right.
That applies to Tenet like 100%.
Well, that's a good thing. As we discussed earlier, 2 new Deaf Crocodile titles up for pre-order tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. Those will be shipping at the end of next month, at the end of April. We are hard at work on a lot more titles coming soon. Tomorrow, though, is Mutant Aliens, an inflatable sex doll of the wastelands. Excited for everybody to get their hands on those. Early pre-order often.
And we had a pretty long tangent talking about trailers. Anna, who edits our trailers, love the work she's doing for us. Her trailer for Inflatable Sex Doll is my favorite that she's done for us yet. Like, it hits perfectly. Doesn't spoil anything, makes you want to see it just like a trailer's supposed to. That is up on YouTube and Vimeo. I encourage you to go check it out. And then it'll be in the newsletter and technically officially dropping tomorrow, but if you're listening to this, you get to know that I put it up there just before we got online. But the Mutant Aliens trailer officially dropping tomorrow, but
I just linked it for everybody in the chat.
He just linked you there. So yes, so check it out. New Bill Plimpton, and seriously, the Inflatable Sex Doll, the Wastelands trailer. If it wasn't a film we were releasing, I'd still say it's my favorite trailer I've seen in quite a while. She did such a great job.
And another thing to appreciate that we didn't say earlier, incredible like smooth jazz score on this one. That is so good. The music is so perfect.
Yeah, then the trailer is cut to the music from the film. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna click that link myself and watch it again. I love that trailer so much.
All that to say, there's going to be a time in just a couple short months where Deaf Crocodile subscription will be available for everybody again for an annual subscription.
Yeah, for the domestic. International enrollment is open now and only until the 7th of April. So if anybody international is listening, watching, you got till April 7th to sign up and save some shipping charges so we can send you a quarter's worth of films all at once.
This is the time. And then domestically, that will be coming up in June, I believe, right?
The month of May will probably be enrollment, because I think it's somewhere in there. I don't know.
Lots of stuff coming up.
May, June, something like that. And we're talking about maybe not doing a 6-month, 12-month thing. Maybe we'll still do that, but we're also thinking maybe we'll do, I think is it oscilloscope that does like you can get the next 5 or the next 10 or regardless if there's 2 a month, 1 a month, doesn't matter. You get the next however many there are. Right. Just a little easier on our end to keep track of things. And if schedules change, it's like, well, you said I was getting this. I'm like, no, we told you you were getting 10. You were getting 10.
It's also easier to not have to just pick up the next one at a discount through a coupon code, because you'll just be getting them all. So pay attention. Subscribe to the Deaf Crocodile podcast. Go subscribe to the YouTube for all the new trailers. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging out, Craig.
So much fun. You have no idea.
Be safe, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share with someone else that may appreciate this.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description